2 seconds.
Looks like I'm the host.
All right, and you want to try to let's see if your screen share stuff. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna minimize all these people. Oh,
and I say we just start on time, and I think the first couple weeks with where we're at, we're gonna just get the recordings in.
Cool. All right. I don't think I have anything in that. Very good. Okay, we ready?
Yeah. All
Okay.
good.
All right, cool. So this is our first ClickUp, or I guess the checkoff. So this is the first ClickUp development. I'm going to start with kind of going over some basic, and then at the end, there's time that anybody has any questions or like jumping in on a live ClickUp. I have a lot of different ClickUps, so I can show you what some of them look like. But, oops, okay. Excuse me. So these are just some of the most common project management apps that are out there that you might hear about. So there's Asana, Flow, Monday.com, Notion, Airtable, Basecamp, Hive. I've used Asana, I've used Monday.com. I looked at Basecamp and Notion. I know I liked ClickUp the best, but in full disclosure, the first time we went to use ClickUp for our office, I hated it. And I was like, nope, can't do this. And then I stopped, and then I actually hired somebody to help me start up the ClickUp again because I saw the value in it. And then now it's like my new obsession. It's pretty bad. So ClickUp has definitely changed my life. So this is ClickUp. This is just, again, a walkthrough, but just know that there are a bunch of other ones. They're all pretty much set up the same way, but ClickUp's my favorite. Okay. So this is to start with. This is just this overspace orientation. So what it's called is a workspace. So you can have as many workspaces as you want. They all cost money depending on how many other workspaces you have. Again, I'll show you later, like all the ones that I have. I think I have 5 or 6 already. But this is your home space right now. So if you click on home on the very top, and then it'll bring you up to this lineup, this home, whatever. So if you have any like tasks to do, I specifically left this blank because mine can look a bit ridiculous. You can add as many calendars as you want. So like for me, I have, I think 6 different calendars that I have to attach to. It can show you your entire day. So if you're very punctual, you need to be on time, like you live by the book on your calendar, which I do. It can show everything up here so you never miss anything. It can also add your tasks. This right here will show you if there's like anything trending. So what trending means is if it's a task that comes up a lot, it'll actually show right up here. So it can be a recurring thing. It can be a thing that you might be forgetting or it's overdue. This will show you if you have any tasks that are due like today. And then if you have any overdue or when there's some upcoming tasks or anything like that, we'll show you all those other things. You'll also have some notifications. ClickUp can be a notification overload. So you have to be very mindful when you set up these notifications. Pulse is if you want to see like a couple other things. I don't really use Pulse too much, but it can help you see things of how things are going. Goals is another, I have another slide to show you some different goals, but you can see the goals, and then it'll show you all, like if you have any favorites pinned or what your spaces look like. I'll talk a little bit more about what spaces are. Same thing with dashboards and docs. So this is basically the home screen that you see. It's a good starting point for anybody who doesn't know what to do with ClickUp. And then same thing, you can see like all the comments done, delegated if you've done anything there. So this is the home screen from your workspace or workspace. So then this next goes to what spaces look like. So these are just purely the sidebar. So this is right underneath that home button that I had right here. So basically I just went into this space right here. So that's what I'm doing, is showing you like what each one is. So we're going to talk about spaces. So this is what they can look like. Like you can make them any color, you can use any different icons. These are actually some of my personal ClickUps. So they're samples. So you can create them in however logical sense for you. Like for example, I'll show you a little bit more about like what HQ is. So basically this is my billing company, Bushido information. If we have any lists or references, all of our team members, because we do all of our training and hiring through ClickUp now, it's all automated, which I have another, that's a whole other topic that I'm going to talk on, how you can actually automate your hiring process. Whole other side note, we literally are hiring and we had 712 people apply for it. And we went through that whole process like it was super easy. So there is definitely a good, easy way to do that. And I'll show you in a couple other weeks. So same thing, you can do all of that. You can make it so you have a master calendar event. So this is actually Dr. Dad's Clinical Pearls that we have here. All that one, that's kind of what that one looks like. And then you can put dashboards. So you can do time tracking. So 2 of my companies do time tracking through ClickUp, so we don't have to use multiple different apps. And then you can also put different docs underneath it. So like Google Docs, I think Microsoft, pretty much if you click on it, it'll show you what docs you can add in there. You can pretty much sky's the limit on those. So that's what this sidebar spaces will look like. And then this is the little button down on the side. So this is all the different workspaces that you can add. So like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll have 6 because I'm going to add the checkoff as one of them too. But this is basically like your master settings bar. And then to get to that, you basically would click this little button here down on the sidebar, and then it pops up to show you like which workspace you're actually using. That's how you would add other people to your like your workspace. You can import, export different, like if somebody wanted to export like my HQ from Clinical Pearls, they could do that. There's different apps that you can set up. Same thing with spaces. There's templates you can save. There's templates that ClickUp has, all that. And then there's this box right here that is usually in like the bottom right-hand corner. So this is a quick, easy way. So like this little guy right here, that's how you can track your time. If you need reminders, if you want some notepads, you can also put this down at the it's usually like right in the very bottom, like that bottom corner. So you can add all these other things. So it's just super easy the way that you can access all those. So that's pretty much like the easy orientation space, just to kind of get people used to what you're looking at. So that's kind of that. So now let's jump into more like actual workspaces. So workspaces are more like the nitty gritty with some of these things. So this is, again, this is like an active live thing. This is what our HQ looks like. And yes, this is a actual one. It's not just a demo one. So this is what how we have it. There's a lot of different views that you can do. And again, full disclosure, I hired somebody to help me do this. So that's how I realized all the things ClickUp could do. And then from there, it basically just turned me into a monster with ClickUp. So it's really easy to see like of all the things, like for example, with Dr. Dad's Clinical Pearls, obviously the other half, my dad lives in Australia. I live in the States, for those of you who don't know that separation. But so there's a lot of the times where he needs some information and I'm sleeping. So he can just come on here through ClickUp and click on, like, this is our login for Stripe. This is our bank account information. Any of the other login stuff. If we ever need any, legal information like our tax ID, that's all under there. But just sky's the limit. Same thing for marketing. Like I have all the hex codes in our marketing. If we have different processes, like we automate certification of attendance, like you can do all those things, but really sky's the limit. The big thing about this one, to get it to actually to look like this, you have to pay attention to like how you group stuff. So I group things by like this called the HQ space, because I've categorized them as like my HQ space of company information, team, branding, softwares. I'll show you more like what that looks like to make sure that you get that properly. But this is just kind of an overview of what you actually can get it to look like. So it's not so like chaotic and scattered everywhere. Like I like things organized, pretty. It has to make sense and flow. And so this all to me just kind of made sense. So the other nice thing is if you see like this little paper clip here, so on some of these boxes, you can actually drop and drag pieces of information. So if you ever need a PDF or anything, like all he would have to do if he needed our, like what you get from the IRS when you get your tax ID number, if he needed that form, he could just click on it because I've already uploaded it. So this can be super helpful. It's just a quick, easy grab and go. It's more for reference than anything else. So that's what this can look like. So how you would create something like this. So again, you can name this whatever you want. You can do whatever picture you want. I just named it HQ because headquarters. So you would click on, this little button, you go to settings. So all these things right here are called custom fields. Custom fields are what really allows you to customize your ClickUp. So what it needs to look like the best. If you like colors, like I like colors, but on this one, I figured colors was a bit too much. So you can add colors, you can change the names, you can require a field. You can pretty much sky's the limit for as many as you want. So the first thing that you have to do in order for things to be set up properly, you have to set up all these custom fields first. You don't want to work backwards. So like this is a custom field, that's a custom field, same thing. And that's why I can group it by this space right here. If I had tried to work backwards, it gives you like this really weird looking thing that is not pretty. So that's really the big key about ClickUp is you have to kind of reverse engineer everything, what you're trying to do, because you have to set up all these spaces and fields and all that to get you to where you actually want to go. So that's how you would create that custom field. And then, so same thing for, here, let me just go back to this really quick. So see how these ones are kind of blue and then there's gray right here. So that is how I can let whoever's looking at this know if this is current, if it needs to be defined, if it's old, if it's whatever parameter I want to set out as. So that's what this is. So it's giving me these different statuses. Oh wait, hold on. Did my Zoom just stop? Nope. I think it was just Tristan. Hold on. Let's make sure he's still there. Nope, Tristan, I think you're just out. Okay, so let me play this back. Okay, so then with this statuses, that's how you can change everything. So you can make this whatever you want it to be. So what's ever going to help you as far as like your HQ, all that, or whatever setting, that's how you set up this task status. So, I mean, obviously I have a lot of custom ones, but you can call them whatever you want. Again, they're all color coded. You can customize them. The only one that you can't customize or color code it is this final one, which is a closed status, which it's super frustrating. And I had to get over it because no matter what, it's always green. You can't change the color. It's really kind of silly. So, but you can change all these different settings and task statuses. Again, same thing. So that goes back to like this one. And I have another picture showing what that looks like, but that's the whole point of those task status. So you can categorize things a little bit better. And then same thing. So why you want to group things together, you can group it however you want, but this is how it would give you like a better look of it basically. But you would click this button and then you can customize it however you want it to look, but I do it for HQ space. Okay, so this is another like blow up picture of what the tasks looks like. So now that you know how to change all those tasks, this is actually what it would look like to change the status. So this is also helpful if you need like an easy way to communicate with somebody. That would be another way to say like, oh, somebody's already done this one, or that's current, or I don't have to worry about that. It just helps with some of that communication piece there. This is what, like, if you click on, let's say you click on like the legal information. Oh, I didn't click on that one, but I clicked on the colors. So you can upload the different colors, like I said, the hex pieces. So I just did like a screenshot. So if I ever want, you know, branding or anything, like I know that this is the code for branding for this color, and then same thing for that color. So I can just pull up all of those. I can see all of those things. So it's super easy and nice for me to just pick up that way. So that's kind of what that one looks like. Then going into what like a new space could look like this is what it could look like. It's kind of sky's the limit for whatever you want, which is why I like ClickUp. This one in particular is for like our clinical pearls one. So we can see like I've changed these statuses to see like, was this webinar, was it completed? We're waiting for confirmation from these two, you know, organizations. What topics were they? So I can change all of these things so we can see like, that's what this one was for, that one was that one. And then same thing for all the ones that we've contacted. I can change it. So once they're pending, then it goes to a scheduled event, and then it'll also put on their master calendar. So everything is all the same. Again, I will show you all that. But the cool part about you can just customize any of these things to be on your space. So again, these are all customized. This is customized. The colors are customized. And again, same thing, like I changed how I look through all of that. So that's some of the nice, easy stuff that you can do there. Okay, so the other nice part about it is if you don't like to have to add and enter in all this other information, you can use what's called a form. And so if you notice, like this is from our webinar one, which is right here. So if we had clicked on the webinars here and all these different views, these views will give me this form. The tricky part about ClickUp, you always have to make sure you're on the right level. So to create a form, I have to make sure it's on this webinar form, or I'm sorry, the webinar level. And then that's how I can create this form. So if I want to pull information from a form that somebody fills out to create something like this and create part of my list, I would use this form. So this form is, I mean, you can make it to whatever you want. This goes back into the custom fields. So all the ones that I was talking about, the company, the information, the branding, all that, those are all custom fields. So same thing, like country of event, that's a custom field. Date of the event, that's a custom field. So these are all the options that you can use for a custom field. So if you want a yes or no, if you want a formula for something to calculate, which I will show you later on what that formula could look like. If you want something for money, if you want a drop down, if you want it just to be a number, like you can put all those things in there. The other thing that you can do is you can, whenever you get these results, you can add it to a task list. So I have this set up right now where anything that comes from this form is added to this task list, which is right here. So I don't have to go in and enter in all of this information. And there's also, like, you see that means something's attached to it. There's these three things, which means there's three like sub attachment or sub tasks assigned to it. So you can assign as many as you want, but because I have it coming from a form, it automatically pulls out that information and then I don't have to do it. So that's the other cool part about a form, that you can just create your own, really sky's the limit. You can make it dark, you can make it a different theme, you can make it, you can add your logo, like you can add whatever you want in there. Then the other thing that I've done is you see how there's like an automation right here. That's also why I like ClickUp, is because it automates a lot of stuff. I have a lot of different companies and a lot of different things going on all the time. So the more I can automate things so it's organized and nice, the better for me. So like you can click here, and then this is this is what it looks like. This shows me there's 3 automations. So basically what that means is how I have this set up. And again, this is just an example. So whenever the status changes, then it moves to that list. So going back to here, whenever I change this waiting on confirmation, contacted, and then we have another one that is called scheduled. So again, this is the tasks. I can change this to scheduled, and then it moves it to my scheduled event list, but it takes all of this information and puts it onto that event list. So I don't have to keep re-entering and moving all these different things. And then once I create that status and change it, then it's going to create all these other subtasks. So like, for example, some of our subtasks that we have on this form is once it's created, I have to make a payment for it. We have to make the marketing sheet, and then we have to create, there's one other thing, I can't remember what it is, but so there's 3 subtasks that we've just assigned to basically create once all these things, and these are automated. So I don't have to go in and worry about like, oh no, I forgot to add that I did this or that. So that's the really cool beauty about this, is you can really just customize it and automate just the heck out of your life. So, so yeah, so same thing. This is, I don't know why that picture's in there too, but yeah, so same thing. It looks the same. So you can just change all these things. So it looks the same. So then now going to the dashboards. So these are some of the things that you can do with dashboards. You can have your own dashboard, you can do timesheets, you can do a team dashboard. So this is what, with going with goals, for example, this is what it would look like if you wanted to create your own dashboard. And there's a lot of different dashboard customized things that you can do, like goals, calculation, pie charts, portfolio. If you want to see if somebody's actually doing their work, you can see if somebody has a lot of outstanding things. So for those of you who like to micromanage, I don't like to micromanage, but this is helpful where you could actually micromanage somebody and they would never know about it, because it'll actually show you if they're being effective, if they're being efficient. I know for us, I have one of my companies is a billing company, and we need to see, because it's all remote, we need to make sure our employees are actually doing the work that they are tracking the hours for. So this is super helpful where we can actually see, and I'll show you what it looks like, to see like, are you actually tracking your time and doing the job that actually needs to be done? So there's just a lot of different features that you can add, that you can track, that you can see, and it calculates these things automatically based off of how you have it set up in ClickUp. So again, these are just some of the things, like this is my chiropractic office. So these are all the tasks that I have open, he has open, she has open, all that. Then it'll also show, like, if I want to see, excuse me, like a full week of, okay, what tasks do we still have to do? All those things that'll show. This is also like a reoccurring task. So we have it where it's set up automatically, that we make sure we do our social media posts, that we make sure our water bottles are filled for our DOTs, all those things. So, and then we can also set things up in priority. So again, this is just an example of what this might look like in actual real time. And then same thing, like if something's coming, it'll show if there's like how many days left, if it's a major priority, things like that. So this is what it looks like for time tracking. And this one took a little bit of time to kind of get used to it, but now that we have it, it's beautiful. So this is for my billing company. And so this will show me, like, when I run payroll for me doesn't take very long, because I can look and see like, oh, okay, this is how many hours this person worked, depending on the time frame. Now, if I want to see like, oh, how many days did they work over? Was there any overtime days? Like, did they work past 8 days? Because you have to pay overtime certain days or whatever. This will actually show you, and it's super specific. Like if you notice, like it's down to the second. And so, which is kind of helpful. But it's definitely like, you can't just track. I mean, she has hers pretty even, but like everyone else, like I know those are actual real-time times that they're tracking, and it's not just inflated hours. So that's also helpful if you have a company that is mostly remote, that you really need to pay attention to some of the hours to make sure they're not inflating their hours. So again, you can do like billable reports, time reporting, timesheets, estimated. I mean, there's a lot of different ones. So this is another one that I had showed earlier about like kind of the orientation. So this is at the bottom. If they want to easily click when they want to like check in for their shift or whatever, they can click this. They can add a task. They can enter in a note to let me know like, oh, that's what this is. They can do it manually. They can add a tag to it. If there's money assigned to it, like it's super nice. And it's just this little box that shows up right there. And the other thing they can do is some of your tasks, you can actually assign like this time tracker here. And so again, these are all customized. So this is a custom field that we made it for who was our main billing specialist, who was our team lead, you know, like what service report, you know, all those type of things. So that has all of that information. Sorry, my dogs are going a little crazy. But all they would have to do if they are working for this clinic, they would click this button and then it would automatically track it. So it can be super, super easy how you can actually, you know, track your time and track your hours. And then same thing, like this report right here can tell me a lot of different things. So it'll tell me like what EHR system my client is using. Did I send the appropriate, you know, onboarding gift? Who is our main contact? Who is the trainer for that? Like how many hours a month is actually being worked on this clinic? Like if I have this massive clinic or there's no hours right here, then that's, you know, this person obviously hasn't onboarded yet, but like I could see that as an owner being like, okay, this clinic is not getting what they need. So you can just see so much just from customizing it. And that's why I really like this, because it just gives me a whole opening. But again, you can make this to however you want. And then it's just, it looks complicated, but once you set it up, it's super, super easy. Okay, so we'll kind of jump into some automations. And so these are what some of the automations are. So this is more or less like my hiring, my training process that we do. So like, for example, when something's created, it automatically sends an email to my candidate to do my interview instructions. Again, there's a whole other thing that I'm going to do about automating your hiring process. So that's what this is. But so just bear with me. It's kind of a teaser. You just have to wait. So this basically will automatically send them. So then they can go onto my interview. Then after that, it's going to send them a link to the calendar. And then after that, if we want to say like, no, you're not hired, or we have different ones to say like, we're going to push you on to another interview, or we want you to do this, it'll actually send these emails automatically for us. And then all we have to do is just go and change the task or like the customized task status. And then it does does that for us automatically. So this is also like sky's the limit for what you can do for all these automations. So if you want to change it where it's a status changes, or you want to create another task or move to another location or whatever, you just say like, when this happens, you do this. So it's an if then statement, which is really great. Like there's just a ton out there and it seems super simple, but there's so many things that you can do with those different automations. So again, when this happens, like this is what it would look like. Makes it super, super easy, and there's no confusion about like, oh, okay, do this or that. So it's laid out pretty nicely for you. So another thing that you can do for automations is with some of those is you can actually add it to a calendar. So like for Dr. Dad's Clinical Pearls, when we have a seminar or if it's an in-person event, it gets added to this master calendar event. So to make sure, because there's so many different time zones that we're working with for those events, we have to make sure they're not gonna go over each other, or if he's supposed to be in person or whatever. So basically it's his own little GPS to say like, hey, this is where you're supposed to go, and go from there. Yes, it's blank, but it was designed to be blank so it doesn't confuse anybody. So you can, again, add these to all automations, so you don't even have to worry about adding this event. And then it can actually pull from your Google Calendar or your Microsoft Calendar to upload all those other things on those calendars as well. So it can do that. So this is another one of the automations that I can do. And so for anybody of my employees who wants like the day off, if there's a lot of people who want, they fill out a form, which is also why I like to use the form. And then so it'll change the status to complete, and then it'll put their time off from this form. It'll actually add it to the calendar. So we have this master calendar of like, this person requested this time off. So there's no confusion, whether it was approved or not approved. It's just there for everybody. And it really kind of not really forces everybody, but once, like, we didn't start the practice with ClickUp. So now that we've kind of changed our systems, it's kind of making everybody start to use ClickUp, because it's like, oh, well, I put it in ClickUp, so if you didn't see it, that's not my fault. So that's a nice little feature that we have, because there's so many times where we're so busy in practice and someone would be like, well, I told you I was leaving at 4 o'clock today. Okay, well, I forgot, but at least it's in ClickUp because you have the time off trigger. So again, this is the same thing that we have here. We have it on this list. And this is important because you have to make sure of the list that you have underneath your space. It has to be at that right level. Otherwise it won't add it to the proper thing. So that's one of the quirks about ClickUp, is if you don't put it at the right level for this view, you won't get it. So just be mindful of it, but it's super, super easy. Like you can call it a time off request form, and then it'll add it to your team calendar. Again, I'll show you what that looks like later, but that's using combining the two automations together. So using a form as well as putting it onto a team calendar. All right, so these are just some of the different ways to personalize things. There's a lot of sky's the limit, but this is just kind of showing you some of the different options that I've personally used it to, personalize how we use ClickUp. So this one's kind of cool as far as like, this is using more the function feature that's in there. So for people who love Excel spreadsheets, they love numbers, they love clean, easy things. You always should know your stats. You should be able to track things because you want to see like, hey, what are my analytics? If I'm doing, what's my budget? What's my monthly spend? What's my, what's my value that I'm getting out of it? Like all of these things that you can put on here. Again, these are customized fields that we've put in there. So like, this is just an example of some of the things that we did that can give me some analytics. So you could actually see like, oh, do I want to put my money there? Or if it's not giving me that output that I need, that ROI, it's probably not a good thing. So so this just shows kind of some of the calculations that you can do. So, like this one, if you put in like the function conversion, you can take all of these variables, which you've made the custom fields, and then you can have them, add them, subtract them, multiply, divide them by whatever other custom fields that you want. And then that'll give you these boxes here, because I've set these two, these two particular ones up as functions. But then this one will automatically, actually remaining budget automatically calculates it too, because it subtracts, what my budget was, what we've spent, and all that. So that's just some ways that you can use it for analytics. And then this is another way that you can use for like information transfer. So another one of the groups that I use it for is for just different investments. And there's a lot of information that we want to get from those investments. So like, I want to know, okay, what's the investor's name? What's the phone number? What's the secondary? Like all those pieces of information. It's a lot of information that I have to get. And if I enter it in wrong, like the wrong LLC, it can create a lot of hiccups. So with ClickUp, I like it because you can actually take all this information that I've already entered in just the once, which I actually got from a form, which I didn't even have to create it. I gave the form link to somebody to put it on themselves. Then I get all that information. And then there's a way that I can actually just add this information to another list. So I can duplicate it. I can make it, I can send email, whatever you want, but basically you would duplicate it or just add it to another list, and then it'll automatically move everything, and then it keeps all that information in there as well. So it can make things super, super easy, and then you don't have to worry about, oh, did I copy this overwrite? Or you don't have to spend so much time just adding everything over and over again and just doing extra work. So that's another feature that you can do, is basically just take this person. This was me, but you could take this person and move it over to another list, and then I have all that information. So kind of just a little bit of a teaser how we actually use it for our hiring purposes. So actually before this call, we just used this because we just hired another person. But this is what our application would look like. So you can make it look as basic, as nice, as professional as you want. Just a little bit of information. They give us their details, all that. And then that automatically adds them to our list. So this was from a week. So for all those people who are like, oh, I can't hire anybody, nobody wants to apply, this is literally from a week, if that. I think this last hiring program the last hiring we just did had 712 people apply to it. And because we use ClickUp to do this, like, we were easily able to not hire these people. And I only had to talk to 3 people. Everything else was all automated, and different steps and things like that. So it makes it super easy. We used to hire a very different way, not very different, but we would hire in a different way that took a lot of time and energy away from me and just other parts about it that people didn't like. So we definitely modified it and changed it and made it in our own. And we've done this particular hiring process about 6 times, and it works every single time that we've done it. It works pretty amazing. So yeah, so that's another way that you can use the form, can add it to all these lists. This is part of the automation. So it'll show you, like, it'll send out this email automatically, which then gives them a link to another place that they have to go to do some of those. So it's, again, super easy, super automated. And then it just notifies us whenever that person has taken the next step, or when they scheduled something on the calendar. And then if we decide, like, oh no, we don't want to hire them, I literally just change, we go in here and we just change, like, the task status. So that's why that's also super important to know about those task statuses. And then the other thing that you can do is, with this hiring process, is basically everything that we have to do to onboard a new employee. So we have different tasks and stuff assigned. This is what we have to do for our new hires, all those different things. But this can automatically generate this onboarding list. So then it can assign it to this onboarding test email, or employee. So that basically would be like, if I hired myself, my name would be here. And then I can see, like, my employee list just pulls and adds it to there. So a lot of these things, again, they're all automated, so I don't have to worry about it. And then it just makes it super easy when I onboard people. I know what I'm doing. I know how the process is going to go, and it's not super chaotic for anybody involved. Another thing that you can do that we just switched to this for my chiropractic office is we moved all of our training manuals to ClickUp. I did this for our billing company too, which was a lot of work, but definitely worth it to keep in one place. Like, we used to use Trainual for my billing company, and it's expensive to use that program. It's great. It's beautiful. But this is already built into it, and it was getting kind of confusing with, like, oh, we needed a login for that or this one, but this one is just all super easy. It's all based there. So same thing. So my office manager, she actually created this, and it's just beautiful, but we customize this so we know what training area it is. We know, like, what staff member this is assigned to, like, what date they're supposed to do it. And then if you see these little numbers that kind of jut out like that, that also is like a subtask that's assigned to it. So for day 1, there's 9 things that we want to make sure our new employee can do. And so those all have to be checked off. And this is also super helpful to make sure that our employees are being trained properly, but to also see like, where are you in the process and did they actually do it? So you can, we figure for our front desk is about an 8-week training program. And then we're going to do this for each and every. So like we have a doctor training. So whenever we bring on an associate, we have somebody who's like like a therapy assistant, like all those things will have their own different training, but it's based off of, we want everyone to know how to do everything in the office. So they start with this and then they move on to the next one. So you can definitely add training manuals in there. The other thing you can see too is the workload. So this will give you that goal. So if you want to see like how far they are, it'll actually tell you and show you like where they are in the progress. And so if you have expectations of where they should be after, let's say like 3 weeks and they're not there, you can also, call on them. So same thing. So these are all just some of the different tasks that we can assign to them. So this is letting us know as far as in the view of like our trainer. So is this person, like as our new hire, doing it with supervision? Are they comfortable? So we can go on to the next part. So this really helps us kind of gauge of where everything is. So we know, do we need a little bit more training on there? Because sometimes it's not necessarily the new hires problem. If something goes wrong, they weren't trained properly. So this is actually showing us like, this is actually, they were trained properly, or when they were going through training, they needed more training, but it wasn't done. So like it falls back onto us. So this is also an accountability for us as the office and the business owners, but also as like the trainer and the new employee as well. So again, these are all things that you can change to whatever you want. This is just kind of what worked best in our office that we felt like we really liked. And then you can see like all these other things, like these are tasks like per day. So like week 2, we have 4 things that we want them to do throughout the week to work on, and so on and so forth. So that's how that one works. And then you can see like what area they're training at, like if it's a back office, if it's front desk, all that. Okay, so now what my thought was, so that was about 45 minutes of just basically going over and showing you, what some of the things that you can do. So let me pull up my actual ClickUp and then just kind of work through it. And then, so really this is kind of the part where I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions, because how we wanted to set up the ClickUp is like, yes, we show you something, but we don't want it to just be like, oh, cool, hey, we show you this, and then you're left not doing something because you don't understand it or you needed more guidance or whatever. So this actually was kind of perfect timing. It's almost like I practiced. I didn't. So we'll go, let me share my screen. So I guess we'll just kind of throw this out to anybody who has any questions, what you want to see, like what you want me to walk through. If you have a thought of like, oh, can it do this and that? We'll go from there. So let me just share my screen again. All right. Who's got it?
Hey, Karen.
Yes.
I'm gonna sneak in and steal the first one because my mind's freaking going off now, because this is way bigger and better than I thought. And
yeah,
I too hated
it's at warp speed,
yeah.
My first one is on the emails that you're using. I think you're using it with your I think with your dad, you're with Pearls and with Bushido Billing. Is it using their own email platform, or is it integrated in with your mail? How's that delivery going?
So for example, like this person, I literally just offered her the position. And so all I did was I changed the status, and it sent it. We have it set up where it comes from our info at Bushido Billing. But it
okay, so it's using their own. It's using their own,
Mhm.
but it's going through ClickUp servers and stuff like that. I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wonder. I think because mine's already set up, I can't necessarily show you. Well, let's show you on this one if I wanted to. This one's blank. Because I haven't started working with this one yet, but just call it like a demo. Oh, that's a fun word. Okay.
So say from a marketing perspective, what I'm seeing is, and I think we're over inundated with, and you know this better than anyone, high level, our MailChimps, active campaigns, our websites. It looks like to me, one of the biggest takeaways that I have is, if I were using this and consolidating, I might want to use the forms and the email stuff and move all my kind of landing pages, processes, and that seems like it can be done through this. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, you could. So like, say for example, I want to set up that automation. I want to.
While you do it, because the biggest thing is, I think where, especially on the marketing side, is the follow-up and having the automations to counter the human intelligence, which this is missing from high level completely. Yes, you can set up a workflow and create tasks, but it's not as it's not as micromanaged as, like you said, and you can't time. So you could literally have a I guess a plug free, no, bottleneck free,
Yeah.
no, leaky bucket free
Yeah.
system from A to Z. I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So, okay. I couldn't show you in the demo because there's a lot of other things I had to set up first. But so like, for example, I'm using the Sleep Balance Academy. We're bringing the sleep program to my office. And so I needed an easy way to figure out, okay, how can I add them to an app? How can I get their sleepness scale and make it so it's easy for me to get the right information? So full disclosure, ClickUp is not HIPAA compliant. So I don't carry anything over that's HIPAA compliant. I also, okay, I'll share something else, but okay, so I went to the automation. Oh boy. Did I just delete my own automation? I did.
No.
No, I don't think I had set it up. I think
Okay.
I deleted it. Okay. Anyway, so if I wanted to automate, so anybody who fills out this form, I can create.
This is what I was looking for the other day. This is perfect.
Yeah. So on this form, if I want to automate it and add the automation, I want to email something. So this, if I go to like ClickUp, I've turned it on in my back end. And so you can integrate it as well, but I don't. Like, I have it just as like a desktop, or it's like an app. I think it's just on an app. I don't know where it is, but it adds all those things together. But basically when you do that, is that here? You can click on it and it'll just email it from, like, it'll let you pick what account I want to do it, or you can sign into another account. So like, obviously I don't want to send something from Dr. Dad's Clinical Pearls from my Touch of Wellness, because it doesn't make sense to those people who are not part of Touch of Wellness. So you can change it, sky's the limit, and then you can modify it. So like, let's just add a different one. Like, yeah, you can sign in with any of those, like all my Google accounts. Let's just,
Got it.
yeah. I was like, let's add another Touch of Wellness one. But if I wanted to do that one, I could have it come from that one in particular. Oh gosh. Oh, they signed me out. So it'll ask you, like, do you want it to come from your company? Do you want it to come from you? Only myself, my admins, all that. And then I'm not gonna add it because it'll mess up whatever I have. But so yeah, it'll let you do whatever. And then it'll show that it's from Touch of Wellness, but it's coming from my email. You can add the person's email address because it's part of what you're pulling from the form. You can add, if I wanted to give you a copy, I could do that, and you could say whatever you wanted in there. You could customize it, like, hey, task name, which I put in the form that's their first and last name. So you can automate it that way. And then you could also automate it so then it could send them this list. So if they fill out one of those health monitoring apps, then they could fill out just this, easy peasy 1, 2, 3. It adds it all up together. And then it'll add it to my list. And then on my list, I can see it's just purely that I have their sleep scale. Are they a DOT patient? Are they just a regular patient? Are they both a patient and a DOT? And if I'm no longer monitoring, I can just take them off my screen. The other thing that I do, going back to like patients, is all of my patients who have scheduled are on here. So I also have this that can tell me, so I can keep track of patients that have lost, patients that I need to follow up on. The cool part about this one is if I click on their name, because I know this is HIPAA, I've not, this actually pulls over from I use Cognito forms for all my new patient intake. So this is coming over. So like from my automation, this is creating to change the task and all that. It's adding it to this list to make it. So I don't even have to enter in any of this information. It's pulled over from my Cognito form. And I use a program called Zapier, which is totally free, but actually, no, I think I have it set up through, nope, I don't. So yeah, so it's being pulled over with Zapier, to add to this list. So yeah.
The other thing I see, and then I'll shut up, is I see Megan and Tyler on, and we were talking today about on our call about how they're keeping track of their relationships. So this is a full-blown CRM, client relationship manager, but I think one of the problems in the software space for CRMs for years is no one's been able to really dial in all these things together. This is what I would use if you guys are building your practices through relationship building, to keep track of, nurture, time track even on stuff, track your I mean, so this is perfect for that.
Yeah, and you could even like some of our dashboards, like we have I don't know, I don't think I added that. You could do KPIs on there, but like you can add so many different, obviously I didn't take pictures of all of them, but you can add it on here that if you wanted to, see by status, like priority,
track the money generated.
You could track all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, yep.
Oh, this is perfect. All right. I know Poppy's on here. Megan and Tyler are on here. You guys feel free to ask, and if you guys don't ask, I do have more. So.
Oh no, my mouse.
Nobody be shy. I don't know if any of you, if people have any questions on that. What is your, well, if anyone wants to speak up, what is your most favorite badass automation that you have created?
That's
if you
probably,
could give, and why, and what impact has it made, and what do you see for someone else kind of swiping?
I would definitely say like our hiring one that we have, because like I said, for example, these are all the people that have applied for our open position. I can click on this person's, and all of this information was just from the form. So I didn't even have to enter in any of this information. I can see that this is all, all in here. I can see her resume that she posted. I can see that the email was sent out, when it was sent out, like ClickBot, all those other things. If I want to change it, it can automatically send another email. Like we had it one time where we were in Cabo, and I was actually with my co-owner, and we were hiring somebody, and I hadn't called her to offer her the position, but our director of billing, who was also with us, clicked this over and hired her. And so she got the email before I could ever call her. So, and then it set up all these different automations of like, it made her training for her and all those different things, and then made an employee list and all that. So I think this, because it's all automated, I can, like, let's say, for example, I want to see information about April. I have all of her information here that I can look at, see and track everything. So then it's easy for HR or for whatever, then I can see like where they are when they were onboarded. And then same thing too, that I can track. So all of this is tracked to just this one application, then stems through all these other things. So that's probably my favorite. And then it creates them like a new training type of thing. And that's all automated. So that's probably my favorite.
Beautiful.
Yeah. My hidden secret.
Hey, is it possible for me to ask a question?
For sure.
I was just curious, like on cost, what is that like?
It's like $12 a person. Let me show you. I mean, there's a lot of different ones that you can do, but like I use a $12 a month. And that's for all the teams. So you can do one, like if you want one that's HIPAA compliant, you can, like, you certainly could. From my understanding, it's a bit more expensive than probably what it would be worth, but it'll show you like what's all included. So it's a relatively inexpensive thing. And that's per person. So, I mean, I have all these people on my team, so they're each $12 a month for them. So it's really not that expensive. That's great.
Okay, and then
There is
like
a-
how often or how
there is a
many
free version.
emails does it hold? Like, is there max and all that stuff?
So for emails, it doesn't actually hold it on the server. So it actually will just put it on your own Gmail account. So you can do 10,000 automations a month with a $12
Okay.
a month one. Yeah, it can do quite a bit.
Okay.
And then, you know, like if you need a business plus, which I don't know why you would ever need that, but it can do that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, something maybe I'm late to listening in on, but
No, you're good. Oh yeah, and then see how like down here it says Zapier. So Zapier, there is a free version that I use that you can also incorporate it, and it's just another automation. So like, let me show Zapier. It'll, let me see which one I want to log in with. Oh, there we go. So like anytime, like these are all on. So anytime a clinic becomes active, it makes them a new working folder. It creates an onboarding list. So this is all another thing that we add to automations to add to ClickUp. So, and this one's free. Like I'm allowed 2,000 a year or a month on this free version. And if you pay for it, this one too, it's not expensive. So like, I think this one's $10 a month or something like that. Yeah, that's a full year for as many as I want. So
okay.
yeah. But that's Zapier too. That's a whole other beast.
Is there anything like day-to-day stuff that you could just show what that looks like?
Yeah, so day to day, my employees use like the clinic working folder. So let me just pull up my clinic. So if I need any like Google Docs or anything, so I have chats on there. So if I have weekly tasks that my billers are assigned to, so it'll make sure that they're actually getting done. So they can just click on here. If I need any documents or anything there, I can go to the folder drive and then it'll pull up all of my documents that I need. Like if I have AR or anything, so that's what that can look like. Some of the other day-to-day stuff might be wellness. So day to day, I use it every day for, like I said, my team calendar is on there. I have team tasks that every day, like this is what we're doing on Monday. We make slideshows. So then they can put all those things in there. Like if we do a slideshow, so they needed all those things on there, we can see it's in there. She can pull it from there. If I have a checklist on the day, that all gets assigned and tasked, like when I have due dates for all of that. Kind of any of my patient flow that I have, like if somebody misses an appointment, it can text that, or it doesn't text them, but it can call them. Same thing, it'll add it to my call list if I need to call a patient. So those are some data, like you're not seeing anything on here because I've already done them for the day, but
Right.
but yeah, so like same thing with all these things. These are kind of day to day where I would just go and change some of those. So
right now we use like the most basic, I guess, form of this. Like I like how on the side you have marketing operations, like different,
yep.
kind of broken up. That looks like it would be much easier to run.
Yeah. It definitely, when you have it all like this, and I hated ClickUp when I first started working with it. So I was like, this is stupid. I can't handle this. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's clunky. And then when I actually had paid somebody to help me set it up, and I was like, oh, I can do this and this. And then I just created a monster. So yeah.
But that's where we're at right now. I'm like, I know that this is probably like the future of where we need to be heading with everybody, but
Yep.
yeah, like I just use the most basic.
Yeah. Well, and I
functions.
think that's probably why I hated it. But like, this one's a good one too. So because like we're all over the place, and this is one of the things that every time why I created ClickUp for Clinical Pearls, because everything was in so many different places, and I was like, I need it in one place. Like, just give me one. Like all these contacts and this seminar and that seminar. So this is a good day to day, like it creates all those different ones. But if I wanted to see,
and all your employees can see this at any time.
Yep.
And do they request off work through here? I mean, like,
yep. Yeah. So let me show you what that looks like. So then for our team calendar on Metro Wellness. So I have like this time off request, but like for example, see, this is why, like, if you add so many calendars, why I didn't put mine up there. But like it'll show Riley requested time off, and then same thing. So she had to pick various different days. But it's just on here. So this is my actual form. And then it can see like, what do I have to approve? What do I not have to approve? Then you can look at it this way. If it's a holiday, like for example, Riley, she added a day. So she even put that on the ClickUp. So because she's not working on these days, she added this day. So this is also something she was able to change. So we modified it. So then we knew that, oh yeah, Riley doesn't normally work on Tuesdays, but it's on our team calendar that Riley's here on these days, so we can schedule, differently or whatever. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's just interesting to see like everything all laid out, like someone's schedule all laid out.
Yes. Yeah. And then like you could see a workload. I don't know if we don't have anything, but if you want to see somebody's workload, we don't use this view, but you could assign that to somebody. Like if there's no estimates, same thing with those, if anything's overdue. And then the other thing about these ones, these are just different views. It just depends on how you want to look at it. I don't really like this view. If it's on a calendar, it doesn't really do much. Same thing with this view.
I hate that view.
What's that?
I hate that view.
Yeah, no, I hate these views. So like that's why I pin team calendar. So this is the one I look at. So
okay.
Yeah.
It should be great if you're doing student of your calendar. And Megan, did you get to see the training manual she set up?
Well, yeah, because I was just thinking like Tyler made one of those that's like pretty extensive, and we're continually like having Alice add to it, or if we think of something. So
yeah,
cool. Cause then, like you said, like a new employee, like
Mhm.
there they go.
Yep. And then so like Reese, my office manager, has set up like these are the 9 things we want done on day 1. So and then we literally can just change them and check off. Like it's learned, it's done. And then whenever we hire somebody, since this is just a reference, so this will never change. But then we have the automation. We haven't set up the automation yet, but once the employee starts, then I can set it up where once we change the new employee, it'll create this new trading staff with their name there. So you can create that too. So then it's there. And then
So the
besides
first
them,
email that goes out to them, because you were on the screen where like you had all your candidates, right? Like all their information. So when that
Yep.
email first goes out to them, is that something that you kind of typed up with like a link to create their ClickUp and be added into your?
You mean my
group?
employee?
Yeah.
So we started off with they just get, let me see what it looks like. We give them this, and then it's this link that they get that starts
Okay.
them in the process, and then it walks them
Okay.
through everything. But like we have to give them an email address, and then once they're in, they're in.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what it looks like.
And you just kind of collect, I mean, of course, you're always searching, thinking about like who would be a good fit for your office, but you just collect these and then when you're ready to make a hire, you
So this is
and you're just sending the email or are you touch pointing with them?
no. So
The
this
only
is
reason why I'm asking is because we're thinking about doing this. So.
yeah. So this is actually just from I posted our ad on Indeed. And then people who needed to do it, this is our actual application. So I copied this link. This is our basic application. They upload their resume. That's it. So that's all it is. And then once that happens, then they add on here and then they get this email. So it's also something else that it's kind of putting up like you have to do this to get that.
Right.
So then
Yeah.
it automatically sends them this email like, hey, we want you to do this quote. The next we use it's called myinterview.com where we set up different questions. So this kind of takes place of it's a phone screening. So instead of like somebody being a Karen over the phone, we can literally just have my interview do it. We set up the 5 questions that we want them to answer. And then if they don't do it, well, they're already screened out. So they'll never get to the next stage. But then when they do, then it adds them to like this person is on my interview. So then we just have to manually change that one. And then there's other steps that happen once we change that little taskbar. Then we send them this email. And then yeah.
Got
So
it. So on your Indeed ad, you're basically putting the link to the form that you just showed me.
Yep.
And that's where they have to take that first step.
Yep. And then everything's set up. But then like the quote, the automation part or like the only manual part is I have to flick this down or change it.
Okay. How long did it really take you to get things like up and going? Was this like a whole day's process? Like you had a lot of information that just need to be inputted or like what was that?
You mean like to create ClickUp?
Well, we already have it created. I think
We don't have
the
any of that part.
extensiveness of yours right now is like something I'm doing and awing at.
I would say this one has definitely been a work in progress. This one was kind of a beast. Like this one took us, we started working on this in November and we're still kind of trying to, I would say probably 6 months for this entire thing, but this is like gigantic. Like we have different onboarding. We haven't even touched our marketing one.
Yeah.
Same thing with like our discovery call tracker, like pulling all that. So this one took us about 6 months. I would say I did this one in a weekend. This is what this one looks like. So this one's for like investment stuff, for Quest 7, with Black Diamond Club. So this one, basically all this one does is like we have different investment information that we needed. So that's what this one is, processes, CorpNet, whatever. And then what we needed to do here was all of these members. We needed some of these members to have it's the same people investing. So then when we had all of our different investment properties, I didn't want to have to re-enter in all the information for each time. So then that way I was able to just literally duplicate it, and you can see, like 11 people were on that one, and then this one and that one. So I didn't have to like duplicate anything, which was great. So it saved me a lot of time. So.
Okay. And then like what your employees can see versus what you can see is different. Like you can turn on and off.
You can. So like, for
Because I'm
example,
assuming some of that, like
mhm.
you don't want them to be
Yeah.
able to access everything personal that you have.
So like some of these it's locked. Actually, this one. So this one's locked. Only me and a couple other people can see it. But like this is all of our, because we supply computers to all of our employees for Bushido. So this will give us like our serial numbers and the model number, so we can keep track of like where everything is. Same thing, like how much we spent on it, who has it, all that, where it came from. And so you can actually change. Oh, just kidding. It's tired. You can change sharing and permissions. So for here, it shows only these people have access to it. That's not my entire company. So if I wanted to, I could unlock it, but like these are the only people who have access to it. And so I've made this space private. So that's what the like little lock things are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah. And then even, I don't know, I think I have a couple that are just my own personal ones on my clinic. Nope, maybe I unlocked them all. But yeah.
Now you said you paid somebody to help you sit down and really like get this going. Was that just someone from ClickUp?
So she is now she's kind of a trainer through ClickUp, but she kind of was her own like she had her own business. She doesn't do it anymore. But she like would take clients on, and that's what she would start them with, is really develop out their processes and systems. I will say this looks nothing like how she set it up for us.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great start. Like HQ is pretty much the only thing that is still the same. But she really helped us show what was possible. And we've worked on it. Like I think this is still all the same, but like our clinic operations are different, patient operations. But like all of that's different. But this is all pretty much the same.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I mean, I really like the way that all looks. Which is really funny because like, I don't know, half in on and half out on ClickUp at the moment currently.
Yeah, no, that's how I was when I first started. I hated it.
I'm just like, I know we should probably use this, but now like, do you have employees using their phones a lot of the day? Like they putting the stuff in ClickUp on the app?
So
Because I've noticed like if I'm away from my computer, like I just don't really log it in ClickUp, or when I'm in the office, like I don't really have my phone on me all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, oh yeah, I
they
called those 3 people, but it's done, and then I just move on. So
mine is actually like I've kind of forced myself to do it because of like the doctor call list or their prospective new patient. Like why I want this done is because when I have my new patients, we give them a Yeti cup. And so like I know that I have to create a Yeti cup for all these people by this particular date. And so that also goes into part of our thing. So if I don't do it, then it kind of handicaps my front staff because they know like, oh, I had to wait for these, but like, why am I waiting? Because I haven't created it yet, or, they haven't come back in, or, whatever. So it's kind of like, I have to put the responsibility on myself to make my front desk work faster and more efficient. So same thing, like I just kind of made it a habit. I don't use my phone a lot for ClickUp. I actually hate the phone version for ClickUp. But yeah.
But
So-
you can still see like all these things if you needed to. And
That's so weird. That's the only thing I ever used, but I hated using
Your
the
phone?
desktop and I only used the phone.
Oh my gosh, no. I mean, like you can hide this if you want. I don't really like it. But again, it goes like to all the different views if you want. Like you can create all these views. I don't really, what was the one that we used? I think it was Mind Map. Oh no, Whiteboard. Whiteboard is super sketchy. We didn't really like that one. You can embed different forms, but I probably use Form, Calendar, the table, and the board the most.
what are the chances they like make it HIPAA compliant?
Oh, you can get it HIPAA compliant. You just have to pay more for it.
Okay, so that was in one of the, okay.
Yeah. So I just mentally, like, I know that I can't put anything HIPAA compliant on there, which is fine. Because like I use Cairo HD, and that software I can do a lot of drop and drags, and it's great. This
Yeah.
one's just more or less for my reference. Like really all I ever care about is like an email address and a phone number. Like that's all I care. And then I can mark it to them. That's all I really
Okay, and that's for patients, just maybe an email list. That's it.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, and you could upload. We just started doing this with this.
Sorry, I'm on my phone, so I'm like squinting to see what the,
No, you're okay. I was like, we just started this, I think, once in June, in like March, to just start adding people. Well, probably not even March. And then just to kind of track them a little bit more. But yeah, it's helpful because then we know, like for this person, we know we have to reschedule him, but then also if we have our canceled new patients, then for us, it's kind of helpful. Like why did they cancel? Was care too expensive? Were we out of our network? And then if these people have not been followed up with, then my front desk knows they need to follow up with these people to see like, why do they not do this? Or, like, for example,
what was
this
going
person,
on? Yeah.
this person, my staff, she can say like, hey, this is that. Yeah. And then you can leave notes for each other. So you can see like why this person was added to our Dr. No Call list. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Okay.
then even like these people too, they chose care at another facility, so like, yeah. So, yep.
Okay. So you basically use Car HD in this.
No, I use a lot of other programs.
You
but
do?
these are, yeah, I was like, these are the main ones that I use.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I like how that all looks, especially the way that you guys have that set up.
Yep. And then you can set up different patient sequences, which I'm still working on. So like it's a process. It's always a work in progress. Because I like to automate my practice to make things easier on me, where I can just literally click a button and then it's done. Because there's always that human error, or they get busy or they forget to do it. And then it's just easier if I just can click it. That's easy.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. I don't want to take all of
No, you're
your
good.
questions.
Who else had some questions?
Yeah, hi, Karen. It's Poppy
Hello.
from Australia. Hey,
Hello.
some really simple questions. I don't know if you've actually already answered. So excuse me, but like the HIPAA compliant stuff, is HIPAA an American thing or like?
Ooh, that's a good question. Dad, is that I feel like it's only
It's American.
America? Like
Yeah,
North
It's
America, I
American.
think.
Yeah.
Right, Dad?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
HIPAA's only for America. So
Okay.
yeah, we don't
Can
we
you
don't
guys
have it
can
in
you guys
Australia.
share patient information freely?
No, we can't, but we have to, but yeah, we don't have a body like HIPAA. Ours is like APRA, which kind of has the code of conduct and certain guidelines in terms of what we can do. online, etc. But yeah, so Poppy, yeah, HIPAA only applies to American healthcare professionals.
Yeah. And then my next question was, like, initially, Karen, you said someone set up the whole ClickUp for you. Like, what was that process? How long was that process, given you've been in this field or working with it for 6 months, was it?
Yeah. Well, no. So I actually hired somebody to just do 2 of my businesses. So she was supposed to do my chiropractic office and then my billing company. And I think each one, I think it was a total of 3 months that it took her to set those 2 up. Because the other thing about it is, like, if you, let's say you like what this looks like, you can actually share the template. It's, I think you can just copy the link. I have to remember, but you can actually share a lot of these templates. So for her, because she's been doing it a while, it was easy to kind of drop and drag and, do all that stuff. But yeah, you can totally share or invite, make it a private link, copy the link, make those workspaces. So for her, it was a lot easier. But again, it was really kind of understanding, like, what we were trying to do with using ClickUp. And really it was just kind of to create efficiency and processes that are kind of clear and cut, and it's not so muddy and, all that. So, so she only created 2 of my businesses, but then all these other ones I created myself based off of what she had. She didn't walk me through any of it. She was like, here's your final product. I was like, okay, perfect. This is great. And then I had to learn to use it just by trial and error. I deleted a few spaces after a couple hours of work, and I said some bad words.
I bet.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yeah. But awesome. It's definitely I guess the way I've always learned things is I just, like, let me play around with it. Like, what does this feature do? What does that feature do? Like, how do I play with this or that? And so that's really how I've learned how to do it. So I'm sure there's an easier way to do some of the things that I learned how to do, but I mean, now I know how to do it because I played around with it. But I mean, it's been fun. Like, sky's the limit really with this.
Yeah, it's totally over my head. However, I can almost see how you could create another log on for, say, a marketer to come in and then like drop and load their perspective, stuff for you, and it be there and succinct. Would it be easy enough for them to learn, or is it something like?
No, I think you could teach somebody relatively easy how to use it. Like this, for example, is our analytics. I deleted everything because we're kind of changing a couple things. Actually, Tristan, I don't think you've ever seen this before, but so I can see, like, when we do press releases, I think they're $500 a month or every quarter, and how much we spend. I want to see.
Wait, we shouldn't be spending that much. We got to talk about that.
What? No, we're not. I was like, I don't think we are. This is just, but you can also change some of these views to see, like, what's my conversion on it if I had 50 clicks. So this is where Facebook comes in. Like, what did I spend? What was my conversion rate? Like, all those other things that you could do for it. So you can automate a lot of these things. Like if I had, something that I wanted to do with Spotify, I can create, there's just a lot of different things that you can do. And then you can star it, like, how effective was it? What platform, all those type of things. So you could definitely turn this into a marketing beast. I just haven't had the time to really play around with it enough. That's my only thing. So
yeah, cool. Thanks.
What other questions? Those are all good questions. Tristan, you said you had a question or another one?
No, you actually answered it in there. So,
good.
This is awesome, and excited about the work, the automation of hiring stuff that you're going to go into deeper using this, and so we're off to a great first start.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. It was good. Good. Cool. And it was like right on time and all that.
Was this helpful for you guys that were on?
They're all muted.
Yeah, helpful yet just so mind exploding. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Like I said,
When-
the first time I went to use ClickUp, I hated it. I was like, I'll give it a fair shot. And we tried it for like 3-4 months. I was like, this is stupid. And then we went away from it for almost a year. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it another try. And I'm very glad that I did because I use it every day for multiple things. So it's a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it definitely looks great. It's just gonna be really annoying for me to try to sit here and figure out how to use it.
Well, yeah. But I mean, the cool part is because you're part of this group, if you have any questions, like, hey, how do you do this? Just send me a message and then I can walk you through it, or we can like schedule an hour later, half an hour, like however many bursts that you want to do to try and get you in the right direction, the right path is a-okay with me.
I think what would be cool is if we do in the group kind of a poll of what would be, because Billy, you want to do the drop, we want to do drops so that not just letting you guys get in these Tuesday sessions, but we can add in kind of bonus stuff. And I think the one that's hitting me is like maybe the first priority for most of you guys, and maybe we can do a mini live one micro version of and help set it up, and also then we can share and swipe it over.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we could do that. I'm down with that.
It actually better if Karen doesn't do it, but we actually do it because we're learning. So me and Billy.
I'm all right. I'm okay with that.
No, but it's also that shared learning of everything. And this is great. Cool.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to peace out, and thanks for joining for the very first ClickUp, the foundational, or I guess the Checkoff. And Tristan, are you next week or is it Billy?
It's Billy.
Oh, Billy. Okay. Don't miss it next week. I'm excited.
Yeah, look forward to it, guys.
All righty. Thanks for jumping on tonight, this afternoon, whatever time zone you're in, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday. That sounds so bad. We'll see you next.
See you next Tuesday. That's gonna be our new branding. Bye.
Deal. Bye.
Yeah, ciao.